Now, new, live, and local, and every weekday from 8 to 9 a.m. This is the show talking about what you want to know, what you need to know, and part of Wolf Boom Radio's mission to use our voice to build our community. The all-new Delaware County Today, presented by Muncie Community Schools. Now on WMUN, the Talk of Muncie. Here's your host, Director of News Operations and lead morning anchor, Steve Lindell.
Here's what people are talking about. Storms out, and some of the power is too. We'll tell you what we know. Meet the Candidate series continues. Today we have two guests in Studio B, and our local news summary airs closer to 8:21, I think, this morning. Hi, Steve Lindell, live in our Studio B for WMUN's Delaware County Today. It did get rough and loud last night and quite rainy. Let's see what's going to happen next with WMUN meteorologist Paul Poteet.
Good morning, and oh, what a night. Hopefully you didn't lose power, didn't lose too many tree limbs. We had a report of a wind gust of 71 miles an hour out of Marion, 60-mile-an-hour gusts elsewhere. The Weather Service is sending some teams down in southern Indiana, in Morgan County and Jackson counties, to do some investigation of damage today, to see if it were to do damage surveys today and see if a tornado actually hit in those areas. We had 2.15 inches of rain in Muncie, almost exactly the same in Anderson. 2.16 inches of rain, over 2 inches in Pendleton. And there may be some more rain again overnight tonight, but it won't be severe weather this time. For today, cooler. Cold fronts crossing the state in the morning, and so temperatures stay kind of steady. A high of only 62, mostly to partly cloudy. 50 tonight, showers and storms after midnight into tomorrow morning. And then 61, a few stray showers Wednesday. Dries out and gets cool. 60 Thursday, 55 on Friday, and 56 Saturday, 65 Sunday. At least the weekend is nice and quiet. That's WMUN Muncie weather. And now, back to Steve.
And thank you very much, Mr. Paul Poteet. Hourly weather updates, because the weather changes all the time. Meet the Candidates, the primary election coming up May 5 in the two-shot on our Wolf Boom Studio B page. Everybody calls him Rich, but he's Richard on the ballot, so it's Richard Ivey in our studio right now, Republican candidate for Indiana State Rep District 34. Richard, always good to see your smiling face. How are you today, sir?
Doing all right. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great indeed. These Meet the Candidate segments are really just kind of a one-on-one with you and I to kind of let people know a little bit about you that may not know enough or deserve to know more. I guess let's start with the broad. Tell us a little bit about Richard Ivey, just to begin with.
Well, I'm Richard Ivey, running for the State House Representative 34. I was born and raised here in Muncie, and Muncie has shaped me into the person I am today. As serving as Deputy Mayor and City Council Finance Chair, I've learned many things that go on at the state level and how some of those things get bogged down as they flow down to cities and communities. I've worked with several collaborations over the years, several administrations putting on mostly youth programming, where I had 17 partners putting along programming within the parks, and Second Harvest was one, MITS was one, and a vast majority of the programmers in town were participants in that. And that came from the schools reaching out. After that, it came the schools reaching out to me to take over the soccer program when they were in some difficult decision-making financial situations. And I was able to absorb that into my programming. And to this day, they told me it was 2 to 5 years, and they would get back with me. And now it's our 14th year we're closing on. So I'm dedicated to what I believe in, which is youth. But I've learned that there are other battles to fight for a community. And I've passed the baton on to several people, and I've taken it back. And so I'm ready to, with my experiences with the mayor's office and being a plant manager in the private sector, I think I'm ready to take a step forward in bringing positive value to our community.
As our listeners, I hope, know, the primary election is where you choose one of the candidates from each of the parties, with two vying for this particular Republican nomination. Why do you think you are the right choice, Richard, to let listeners know the difference between Richard Ivey?
I think my track record sets me apart from most others. As a community leader, which I don't use that word loosely, I've been involved in things for over 30 years around here. I was the co-chair that created the Freedom Bus, got it wrapped, and I wasn't just administrative. I followed the bus down to Indianapolis, got it wrapped, got it back here, worked with Minnetrista to get educational things put in it, and all the way up to the ballpark out to McCullough Park. I was a project manager on that, where we put $1.6 million in that and made it state ready for sectional play if they desire. Ball State plays there, and several high schools around the city plays there.
What issues are you hearing about from constituents as you've done the campaign? What's the most one or two things that seem to be on everybody's mind at a state level?
A lot of the bills that are coming through are very interesting to some folks. Mm-hmm. You know, we have, I'll just pick one, the marijuana, and using that for all types of medicinal uses and other usage. It's going to be a good debate and a good fight over that, and I think I'm ready to tackle issues like that. I know I will be sort of a freshman down there. Wow. And I've reached out to several people to get their assistance with, merging myself into the role and taking a seat where I need to take it, and then taking a leadership role as I learn.
I'm sure you've heard about the notion of affordability, and you mentioned a little bit ago that things cost a lot nowadays. As a state legislator, how do you think that you might be able to work and help to get that affordability thing moving in the right direction for Hoosiers?
I think that starts with the mayor's office. I think the direction he's going with not raising taxes and putting up new homes and increasing our tax base is a part of that. We provide services throughout the city, safety services and the like, and the way to do that without raising taxes is to build homes and have a bigger and broader tax base.
Richard Ivey is our subject of the Meet the Candidate segment this morning, running for State Rep District 34, the Republican nomination for the May 5th primary. One of the other policy topics that we've been asking all of our candidates as it relates to data centers. That's obviously something that people are talking a lot about. Some are in favor of and some are not. What's your stance on AI data centers being able to move in and do what they do in the state of Indiana?
The notion of data centers itself doesn't scare me, but I haven't done the research to know exactly what side of the fence I fall on. But I will be digging into that here shortly as time moves forward. And necessarily jobs are important, but you have to meet the community's needs as well.
Richard Ivey is our guest here on WMUN's Delaware County Today Meet the Candidate segment. Medical costs are another issue people talk to us in the news about. I'm sure they've talked to that too. Indiana has some of the highest costs in the country, and I was wondering if you have some ideas for how to help Hoosiers in those regards.
I have not formulated ideals on that as yet, but yes, I think we're third or fourth highest. And I know we have a lot of hospitals within the same communities and things of that nature. But I think everybody needs to come to the table to see how they can survive and provide the right service and make it cost affordable for the average Hoosier.
All right. Rich Ivey is our guest in the final moment that we have with you in our segment here. I'd like for the floor to be yours. What haven't we talked about this morning about Richard Ivey that you would like for voters to know about you?
Well, I think one of my advantages isn't policy expertise, but is that I'm well known, I'm present, I'm real in this community, and at the end of the day, you don't have to chase me down. You can find Richard Ivey. And so accessibility is one thing, but true transparency. I mean, you cannot be transparent to the point that's all you focus on, but you got to be ready to be transparent as people approach you and want to know what you believe and where you think the city of Muncie is going. Already been in the room and the representation that is necessary for Muncie to be a part of this growth. We have a growth in East Central Indiana. You have Ingalls with a big flag out on 69, which upset me when I first saw it.
Did it?
It did. I was like, told my wife, I said, Pam, did you see that? Everybody know where Ingalls is. It only has like one stoplight. But because of all that growth out there and their tax base has grown, they are marketing their area for new homes for new residents, and the mayor started that 6 years ago here. And Make My Move was a part of that.
Yep.
And I think we're going in the right direction with Ms. Horton coming in and finding the right places all around Muncie. It's not just one side or north side or south side, but the east side as well, which has kind of been neglected. We built the bypass to get people coming through, and then we don't put anything on it for them to get off to see. But we're going to have a McDonald's, and we got the aircraft people, and I apologize for not having the proper name. Aeronautics is out there.
Academy of Model
So
Aeronautics.
it's a far cry for Selma not to have to go all the way to 332 just to get a steak.
I gotcha. Well, I say this to all the candidates I have the good fortune of having conversations with. I'm going to call you Rich because I've
Yes.
called you Rich forever. Thank you for your willingness to serve. It takes a lot to stick your neck out, and you got to be out there in the public. You've done that in other regards before, so this is a little different stage, and we are thankful that you and so many others are willing to do so and willing to serve. Thank you very much for coming in this morning. Have a great rest of your day.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you.
Richard Ivey, our guest. Another Meet the Candidate segment coming up bottom of hour. Our local news summary is going to air in between. Hold on. We'll also tell you about the power situation happening out there. We've talked to INM and some others this morning. Stand by. This is Delaware County Today on WMUN.
The NBA playoffs are right around the corner, and now you can trade on every game on Kalshi. You can also trade on who wins each series, the conference finals, and the championship. On Kalshi, you're trading against other people in the live market. No house and no odds maker. And as the odds move, you can buy in and out anytime throughout the postseason. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app, use code PROVE to get $10 when you trade $10. Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade on anything.
Hey, it's Jonas Knox, and when production shifts, your workforce has to keep up without driving costs up. Express Employment Professionals connects manufacturers with skilled talent fast, contract or full-time, so the job gets done right. Need assemblers, machinists, quality inspectors, maintenance techs, or production leaders? Get started at expresspros.com to find the right people when you need them and reap the benefits of a flexible workforce. Hire smarter and faster with your local Express office. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Too many families face a widening gap between what they can afford and what they need to thrive. More than half of families in the U.S. today are one paycheck away from financial crisis. At Good 360, we deliver hope when families need it most, providing essentials like clothing, hygiene items, and household goods. Put help within reach. Learn more at good360.org.
If you've got spring fever, Lowe's has the cure. During SpringFest, make your landscape stand out with 3 free bags of Miracle-Gro 3/4 cubic foot garden soil when you buy 3. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances to keep clothes, food, and dishes fresh all season long. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details. Soil offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Want to hear more? Replays uploaded daily on WMUNmuncie.com. Now back to Delaware County Today with Steve Lindell, presented by Muncie Community School.
On this April 28th, we talk about what people are talking about in Muncie, Delaware County, and today it's storm damage and rain and wind and power. Thankfully, it is not as bad right now at 8:20 in the morning as it was, say, 9, 10, 11 o'clock last night. AEP told us that 67 or 70 mile-an-hour wind gusts caused more than 12,000 out of power at a peak. In fact, 12,217 to be exact. About 7,800 of those in Indiana and 4,500 in Michigan. Here in the East Central Indiana area, Muncie, Delaware County, we checked the numbers this morning. You'll hear some of that within the local news summary. We had 4 a.m. data cited. They are making progress. In our neighborhood, my beautiful wife Nancy and I live on the northwest side of town. Our power went out at about, I think it was 12:30, no, it was 11:30 last night. Hopefully the refrigerators are holding up nicely. The power is still out this morning. You're hearing me and seeing me with little or no coffee in my body, which is very rare at this time of the day. However, those crews are working really hard. They want you to watch out for down lines. If something is a problem, make sure you report it. AEP or any of the power companies have their contact information. If you don't know, just Google it and get that information. Don't assume they know. Better if they know twice than not at all. Now, the rest of our local news summary. These stories and more airing on all of our stations in East Central Indiana, and right now for you on WMUN. Storms now out, repairs on, power problems. As of 4 a.m., AEP has nearly 5,000 still out. That's better than the nearly 20,000 they had out at 9:30 last night. Duke's Web is down. City of Anderson has about 1,100 out of juice. No tornadoes reported in the East Central Indiana area, but that was not the case in other parts of our state. Charges filed and an arrest made. Teddy M. Johnson arrested yesterday and is being held without bail pending. This is related to the November 12, 2025 death of Delaware County Sheriff's Deputy Corporal Blake A. Reynolds. The charges include reckless homicide, involuntary manslaughter, failure to change lanes for authorized emergency vehicle, and reckless operation of a tractor-trailer combination. If convicted, just under 10 years in prison could be part of the sentence. Randall McAllister is new to the candidate life, but the District 34 Indiana House of Representatives hopeful says he has plenty of experience helping others get elected.
This is the first time I've ran for elective office, but I've ran some national campaigns, for example, like Congresswoman Nancy Mace, to get out the vote and to energize the voters.
Full interview on WMUNmuncie.com. The mayor keeps using the phrase net gain for businesses leaving the soon-to-be-demolished Muncie Mall.
The current retailers are all running around looking for and negotiating on current retail space. So some of that vacant space that you might see will probably be filled with people that are currently inside the mall. We'll have a net gain.
Since we spoke to Dan Ridenauer, MCL closed, as well as a handful of others that do not seem to be reopening in town. Over the weekend, Maximized Benefits said on social media that around May 1, they are relocating in Muncie from their longtime location near Foot Locker. A Friday hearing has been set to hear testimony from doctors treating Carl Roy Webb Boards II, accused in the 2022 murder of Elwood police officer Noah Chavez, and has been receiving treatment to restore his competency to stand trial. Indiana putting $200 million toward child care to get more parents back into the workforce.
The State Budget Committee approved the funding to clear wait lists for the Child Care Development Fund voucher program, which helps low-income families afford high-quality care.
Many families depend upon child care as they continue to work and support their families. This expansion will help those families stay employed and help our Indiana economy.
That's State Representative Jeff Thompson. He says the move could help an additional 14,000 children across the state. Johnette Cruz, Network Indiana.
The Anderson Homeless Task Force screened Beyond the Bridge, a solution to homelessness, last week at the Paramount Theater. Board member Rob Spalding told the Anderson Journal Morning Show the film showed the power a home can have on the decision-making of previously homeless citizens.
There was a gentleman in this that had been a long time homeless. He had been, and we were just talking about he now had a place to live. And he said, the last time, I was thinking about buying drugs, I thought, no, I need curtains. I need drapes for my windows.
Madison County Council candidate and Iraq War veteran Nicole Kapuscinski told Anderson Talks there's a very simple reason she began her campaign to represent District 2 as a Republican.
Kind of got a little tired of not being able to get my questions answered, and I, up to this point, have felt like I didn't have any representation in Madison County.
May 5 is primary day with new vote centers in Delaware County. Registered voters can do so at any location with a valid ID from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. that day. Second Harvest Food Bank tailgate food distributions tomorrow at Marion's 5 Points Mall, at the old Kmart parking lot Anderson on Friday, and then Saturday at the Second Harvest Food Warehouse on Old State Road 3 in Muncie. Each event starts 10 a.m. A Sunday night shooting is under investigation. Residents 1600 block of East 2nd Street. Muncie Police Department officers found 2 individuals injured, 128 and 137. They were taken to the hospital, stable condition, last report. As of 11 a.m. yesterday, a suspect identified as 32-year-old Devontae Marquise Williams, considered to be armed and dangerous. Anyone with information, whereabouts or otherwise, call the Muncie Police Detective Division. At this point in time, the allegations only. Mr. Williams is innocent until proven guilty. Indianapolis police investigating a truck crashing into a building Saturday morning as a homicide.
The crash happening on Indy's east side early Saturday morning. IMPD and IFD were called to the intersection of East 10th Street and Emerson Avenue for a report of a crash and found a big hole in the side of a building. A truck had fallen off the road and ended up smashing into it. Initially, police believed it to be a fatal crash, but after the Marion County Coroner's Office pronounced the driver dead at the scene, they said he had also been shot. The Coroner's Office will conduct an autopsy to determine the exact manner and cause of death. Jarrett Lewis, Network Indiana.
Construction of the first of 2 planned Madison County anchor parks expected to begin this week. The Herald Bulletin says Avenue Development will begin the 47-acre park plan for 8th Street Road and Layton Road. Comedian Tommy Davidson will make his first Muncie appearance May 10 with a 6 p.m. show at Cornerstone Center for the Arts. He told WMUN why that day, Mother's Day, this year is so important to him.
If it wasn't for the matriarchs of this freaking country, that what would we have? You know what I mean? We just be still battling somewhere. It's the ones that said, you know what? You guys are going to have to try to find a way to get along.
General admission tickets start at $27.50 in advance. There's a link on our news page today. More local every day on our free wolfboomnews.com.
Every hour of every day, Fox News Radio is there with the latest breaking news and information you rely on.
This is a Fox News Alert.
I'm Lisa Brady.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
With Fox News correspondents around the globe.
At the White House, Simon Owen in London.
On Capitol Hill, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The news that matters most to you. The top headlines, all in one place. America is listening to Fox News Radio.
Updates hourly on the Talk of Muncie, the new WMUN.
Why choose Muncie Community Schools? Parents say it's the people.
They love the teachers. We love the teachers. They're really good with the kids.
Miss Calhoun, she offers to tutor her after school for her reading, but she brought that grade up, and I'm proud of that.
These are some of the best people. They really are. They go out their way to make sure he has what he needs and that he's able to learn.
The school is wonderful. Staff's wonderful. You couldn't ask for any more.
Muncie Community Schools, placing learners first.
Too many families face a widening gap between what they can afford and what they need to thrive. More than half of families in the U.S. today are one paycheck away from financial crisis. At Good 360, we deliver hope when families need it most, providing essentials like clothing, hygiene items, and household goods. Put help within reach. Learn more at good360.org.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Live, weekdays from 8 to 9 a.m. with replays later. This is the Daily Delaware County Today with Steve Lindell.
And my next Meet the Candidates segment, we're going to bring in Jackson Franklin, Democratic candidate for the 5th Congressional District. I'll put you in the close-up now, and I'll let you start with, let's meet you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Steve. I'm Jackson Franklin. I'm an Army combat medic. I've deployed overseas. I'm also a registered paramedic. I've worked on the ambulance, and I'm running to be your Democratic congressperson here in Indiana's 5th Congressional District. I'm a grassroots candidate, meaning we don't take any corporate PAC money, and I'm running unapologetically to fight for the working class, not the donor class.
Wow, that was a great start. Look at you. It's like you've done that water cooler talk before.
This campaign has been going for a year and a half at this point. If I don't have that down, then maybe I should see myself out.
I gotcha. One of the obvious questions I ask those, of course, the primary folks is where we choose the Democrat and the Republican that have opposed races for the various seats that are available, with 7 vying for the Democratic nominee in this particular one. What do you say to listeners that makes you the best suited to be that choice on May 5?
So May 5th is the primary election. Cinco de Mayo, I'm telling everyone, go out and vote, and we're all getting Mexican afterwards. What makes me the best candidate to vote for in this primary is as I said, I'm not taking any corporate PAC money. We are fighting for working class people. On the ambulance, I've seen all too many times people not even want to get on the ambulance because it's just too expensive. I've taken veterans, my heroes, people I look up to, from the hospital back to their homes to die because they did not want to put their families through medical bankruptcy. And that's why I'm fighting for Medicare for all, because healthcare is a human right. And the only reason we don't have some kind of system like every other developed nation in the world is because the big health insurance lobby lobbies both parties against the will of the working class people they are working to represent. We're bringing that fight to Congress. We are going to end the corruption. We're going to fight back and stop the bleeding that this current administration is causing and just stand up for working class people. And also sweeping election reform. We should make it easier to vote, not harder, and we need to get money out of politics.
Jackson Franklin is our guest. We're in Studio B. For those watching the video replay later, you can clearly see my hair color as compared to his. You are one of the youngest candidates, or is that an understatement?
I'm one of the youngest candidates. I am in the whole nation.
That's what I was talking about.
In the whole nation. Yeah, I am 26. You're allowed to be running for Congress if you're going to be 25 by the time you're being sworn in. Now, I started this run while I was 24, and by the time of swearing in, I'm about to be 27. I'll be 26 and then give it 2 weeks. But yes, I am on the younger side.
And has public service, your service in the military notwithstanding, but has public service in this regard, in this capacity, always been in the area of a want for you, or is this a new desire of yours to serve in this capacity?
I never thought I was going to be a candidate. I've helped a lot of other candidates. I was the policy advisor for previous congressional candidates in this district, so I've been at this level thinking about federal policy. I've knocked a lot of doors around the Muncie area, and I've been feeling the burn since 10 years ago when Bernie Sanders came here and, in fact, won this state of Indiana at the last presidential primary that we had in this state. And not only did he win this state, he won all 6 counties of the 5th district, and we're bringing that fight back. You know, if you want health care and you want to get money out of politics, this is the campaign for you.
This is Jackson Franklin. He is one of the Democrat candidates for the 5th Congressional District seat. We ask the same sorts of policy questions to all of our Meet the Candidate segments so that our listeners and viewers can get a sense of who stands where on what particular issue. How about immigration and customs enforcements? What's your stance on that particular topic?
So I think a lot of people are scared right now with ICE. You know, you have these federal masked agents that are harming our people. I am calling to make sure we have a pathway to citizenship. I see that we should have the American dream. I don't see any reason why we should be getting in the way of hardworking people wanting to become American and provide a good life for their families. So I want to abolish ICE and have a clear pathway to citizenship. How about this? No more kids in cages. And instead of looking at the immigrants like whatever the scapegoat of the day is, they want you nose to nose instead of shoulder to shoulder, looking up at the people who are causing most of the problems. Most of our issues are not left versus right, but top versus down. It's the working class people right next to you versus the billionaires that are breaking down our unions, sending our jobs overseas, and bribing our politicians. It's up to us to organize a grassroots movement and get that change that we all know that we deserve.
We're on WMUN. I'm Steve Lindell, hosting Delaware County Today. Our guest is Jackson Franklin, Democrat candidate for the 5th congressional seat in the great state of Indiana. Another dominant issue right now, I don't need to tell you this, it's the affordability issue. What will you do differently, do better, or whatever to try and help facilitate a fix with respect to affordability?
So I think that if you work 60 hours a week, you should have enough to put food on the family for your on the table for your family. And that's why I'm fighting for not just a living wage, but a dignified wage at that. I'm fighting to raise the minimum wage to $25 an hour, and as well as just having a system that takes care of the people that it's supposed to govern. As well, most our inflation is artificial inflation. These big oil companies, big pharma driving up drug costs and everything else, it's all because they know they can upcharge you and get away with it. We need to have the governor act as the umpire in this regard and make sure that these corporations are being fair. We got to be having fair prices for these things, and I will bring that fight to Congress once elected.
One of the other newer issues that not only our state and country has to deal with is data centers, the impact that they can have environmentally and in a lot of other ways. We're asking all of the candidates because it's a very pertinent issue, and Indiana is at a state level, is very favorable for the situation of bringing them into our state. Where do you stand on that?
I agree with Senator Bernie Sanders that we should have a complete moratorium on data centers because they are taking jobs away. They're also hurting the environment. For every one ChatGPT response, it drains out 7 water bottles. So we have to make sure that and they're driving up energy costs for the nearby residents. So how about they pay their own bill, their own electric bills, instead of putting it on us and the nearby communities. So we need to have a closed loop water system to make sure that they are not harming the environment, making sure that they're paying their own energy bills, and we just need to put a pause on further construction until the legislation can catch up. And then fine, yeah, we can have the data centers after that. And it's also, what data is it? It's your online data that they are farming and then selling out to these multi-million, multi-billion-dollar corporations without your consent. So we need to have privacy laws like they do in the EU, but even stronger, and that's what I'm fighting for in Congress.
His name is Jackson Franklin. He is the Democrat candidate, one of the 7 running for the 5th congressional district seat in Indiana. One of the other topics we ask all of our candidates in this series of interviews on a federal level, assuming that you get the chair, and are encouraging job growth in our area. How do you intend to do that and do it better than has been done in the past?
So I'm fighting to make sure that we have a clean environment. Something I am fighting for is creating new jobs, green new jobs, a Green New Deal, so we can create hundreds of thousands of jobs, making sure that we are having renewable technology, as well as bring back the CHIPS Act, all these electrical jobs, making sure that, we're not just competing with China and reliant on Taiwan. We can make these here in America, these microchips, and making sure that would increase like 500,000 jobs with those combined right there. So bringing back living wages, strong unions, and bringing that back to Indiana's 5th District is something I'm very passionate about.
In the final moments we have now with you, I always offer each of the candidates in these Meet the Candidate segments. The floor is yours. In the final moment we have, what have I not asked about, and what have we not had a chance to talk about in this segment that you want to make sure people know about you?
I want to make sure that people know that Indiana is not so deep of a red state. In fact, it is a gray state. Last midterm election, 60% of registered voters didn't vote. So we're not a red state, we're a did not vote state. If did not vote was a candidate, they'd win all across the ballot. So we need to make sure that we're standing up for working class people, and as well as the world's eyes are upon us. And I'm not just saying that. It's not just the nation. The whole world's eyes are on us in this district, because out of the 9 congressional districts of Indiana, the 5th district is the most swingable. We can take back, with your help, if you go to JacksonFranklinForCongress.com, we can win back this district, take back the House of Representatives, impeach Donald Trump, and stand up for the working class people that this government is supposed to represent in the first place.
You are clearly energized, and I encourage you to keep up your great work, to want to serve your country in a different way. Thank you again for your previous service.
You're worth it.
And as I've said to all the other candidates, thanks for your willingness to do this too, because I imagine this campaigning stuff is not simplistic. There are minutes and moments where it
by no means
can get challenging, difficult, and or almost like a question mark. Do I really want to be doing this? But thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you so much for having me on,
Absolutely.
Steve. I really appreciate it.
We'll have more in a moment, going through the hour every day. This is Delaware County Today on WMUN.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio. I'm Gary Dick. Evansville-based Deaconess Health System has announced plans for a state-of-the-art comprehensive cancer center that it says will transform cancer care across the tri-state region. Sinelli Cancer Center is set to open in 2028 on the Deaconess Gateway campus. The more than $150 million cancer center will bring together a wide range of cancer and medical resources under one roof, says Deaconess CEO Sean McCoy.
Transportation is an issue. Family support's an issue. And so having care closer to where folks live, care close to home is just so important nowadays.
Indianapolis-based drug giant Eli Lilly and Company is growing again, announcing an agreement to acquire cancer drug developer Ajax Therapeutics in a deal worth up to $2.3 billion. Privately held Ajax is headquartered in New York City and has operations in Cambridge, Massachusetts. You're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Do you own an import-export business? If so, your company could save time and money with foreign trade zones. FTZs are designated sites across the United States where you can reduce, defer, and even eliminate import duties, helping you stay competitive in the global marketplace. And if you're in central Indiana, InZone will even cover the cost of a feasibility study to assess your potential savings, because smart companies get in the zone. Learn more at inzone.org.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick, coming to you this week from Northwest Indiana, Jeffersonville, Muncie, South Bend, in downtown Evansville, Terre Haute, Fort Wayne, Richmond, from one of the state's key entrepreneurial and innovation hubs, 16 Tech. Inside Indiana Business, Indiana's business news leader.
All Kinds of People with Dr. Joe.
My guest today on All Kinds of People is Elisa Wells.
I love all kinds of people. So the title of the show just grabbed me as soon as I read your email.
Mondays from 9:30 till 10 a.m. on 92.5 FM, 1340 AM, and Alexa Play WMUN.
And I am happy to have Betty Brewer with us in the studio. Betty, thanks for coming down to Woof Boom Studios to be with us on All Kinds of People.
Good morning, Dr. Joe. I'm more than happy to do that. I feel like all kinds of people.
Yes, I know. It's a little early in the morning, thank you, but we're doing fine. And
here on Radio Mondays, and then anytime on demand on WMUNmuncie.com. Just search for All Kinds of People from the new WMUN. Listen to Delaware County Today on Alexa. Just enable the skill, then say, Alexa, play WMUN. Now back to Steve Lindell.
Thank you, Tom Campbell, the voice of WMUN, doing great work for us behind the scenes and on the front lines. We're in Studio B for Wolf Boom Radio. I am told that we have another segment coming soon on this channel, YouTube, Wolf Boom Studio B, where you can watch the replay of many sorts of programs and items that we have on the radio and sometimes behind the scenes. But that artist from Newcastle, Indiana, that was on The Voice, got to the finals. She will be in our midst once again. If you don't know who I'm talking about, Google The Voice Newcastle, Indiana. You'll be able to see probably some of her performances, not probably, definitely, and see what kind of a neat local angle we have in nearby Newcastle, Indiana. Let's now get a quick snapshot of your day today.
It's April 28th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is National Superhero Day. It was created in 1995 by Marvel employees to celebrate their favorite heroes. Nowadays, there are plenty to choose from, Captain America to Black Panther, or our regular everyday heroes like those in uniform. Also on this day, space tourism became a reality in 2001. California billionaire Dennis Tito hitches a ride on a Russian rocket to the International Space Station. In 1994, a former CIA officer admits he was giving secrets to the Soviet Union. Aldrich Ames got life in prison in what is often considered one of the biggest spy cases in American history. And it was this day in 1967 when boxing legend Muhammad Ali refused Army induction, citing religious beliefs. He was convicted of draft evasion, but never went to prison because of an eventual Supreme Court appeal ruling. I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
On WMUN 92.5 FM, 1340 AM in Studio B. You can see the wide angle now if you're watching the replay, and we thank Sean Mattingly for helping us with the graphics and or all the work, the wiring and building of this room, Justin Peckinpah, and the investment by our owner, Jay Chapman and Wolf Boom Radio, to allow us to do this for you in here. Tomorrow morning, Ted Baker will be one of our guests. The business and small entrepreneurial style of our world, it kind of drives America. He talks about that wholeheartedly and honestly. We look forward to having Ted Baker in here again tomorrow morning, right inside Studio B. Delaware County Today is a daily program heard 8 to 9 a.m. locally on 92.5 FM, 1340 a.m., and a very strange thing is happening optically. I'm going to show you on the map right now. Look at the listeners with the devices. Now, we just had a California listener pop on the left coast. Prior to that one just popping up way over there in the time zone, much different from where we are. Look at all that, starting with Mama in Minnesota and then Roger too, and then there's Chicagoland, and it kind of goes in a straight line all the way down through and including Florida. I see there's an Ohio listener as well, and more. The vast majority of our audience on terrestrial radio, 92.5 FM, 1340 AM. We're going to have some fun on Friday again around here on this radio station and in person. The 1925 Pub House will be the location for our Mark Forrester to host his daily Power Hour broadcast. That's 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. He's going to be hopefully on the sidewalk in front of the Pub House again. A few weeks ago, he started the summer series of those events, broadcasting on location with the coach, Chris Kapko of the Ball State Cardinals. It turned out to be a wonderful event. I think they all do. And this Friday will be no different, especially if you are able to attend. Start your weekend a little early and maybe enjoy some conversation about Muncie, Delaware County sports topics with Muncie, Delaware County people, just like you. The 1925 Pub House sponsors that event, and that is every day, 4 to 5 p.m. It's called the Power Hour. The Friday program this week will be there in downtown, the original Muncie. Next item this morning, you may have heard that, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but
This is House Call for Health.
When you're starting the day, the first order of business should be to drink a glass of water. This from doctors at the Cleveland Clinic, who say people lose a lot of water from their bodies while they sleep through breathing and sweating. Doctors say drinking water right after you wake up can help boost metabolism, improve digestion, and help prevent urinary tract infections. And if you don't really enjoy plain water, health experts recommend adding a slice of lemon or another fruit to give it some flavor, or try drinking carbonated or sparkling water. They say what matters most is to stay hydrated. One Cleveland Clinic gastroenterologist noting they tell patients to drink at least a cup of water when they wake up in the morning, adding, you don't really know what's going to happen for the rest of the day. We're all guilty of not drinking enough water. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Live radio, an update from AEP, Indiana Michigan Power, received just moments ago. The numbers are this way. Total customers that are out, 3,756 as of 8:50 this morning on April the 28th. Indiana customers just a little over 2,500. And there are 1,000 workers on the restoration team now working on this. Broken or damaged poles, 54, and individuals' spans of downed wires, 75 plus. And I think that probably complicates matters greatly when wires are down. That makes it even more difficult to fix up. It's not necessarily a transformer that might need to be replaced or something. We're talking about wires that are down. Heavy wind. There were some reports statewide of tornadic type activity. There were no tornado warnings in the immediate Muncie and East Central Indiana area that I was aware of, and we were tracking it with our good friend and weather pal, meteorologist Paul Poteet, with updated information flying out on the radio and on his great website as well. I'm Steve Lindell. This is WMUN's Delaware County Today. Next item now, what can you do to help some of the most vulnerable creatures on Earth?
Take a pause.
It's kitten season, that time of year when shelters across the U.S. get inundated by some of the cutest, neediest animals ever.
They need bottle feeding, sometimes they need overnight care, and that is care that can't really happen inside the shelter. So this time of year, we're looking for foster parents, we're looking for volunteers. Of course, we also need adopters. Really important time to be helping out.
Hannah Shaw is also known as the Kitten Lady, founder of the Orphan Kitten Club. She's helped to rescue hundreds of thousands of kittens, and she's hoping you'll pitch in at your local shelter. And one of the easiest ways to help if you have cats:
make sure they're spayed or neutered. If you see cats in your neighborhood, you can make sure they're spayed and neutered too. There's a lot of really good low cost or sometimes even free services for that in communities across the country.
Take a pause for kittens. Jill Nato, Fox News.
Oh, she does loving the sound effects inclusion on the House Call for Health item there. Actually, that was Take a Pause, House Call for Health prior to that. You know, I think House Call for Health likes sound effects too. I have something for you to look forward to. Watching the clock here. Yeah, I got just a second. I'm going to save this. I'll tell you, it's worth hanging around for. Hold on just a minute. Let's do this first. From the 2021 archives, Doing Good Together.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
Two co-workers from Georgia who did an incredible thing for each other's spouses makes today's Dean's List. Tia Wimbush and Susan Ellis worked at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta for over a decade and were in the same department for 5 years. A mutual friend realized they both had something in common. Both of their husbands were struggling with kidney failure. One day they confided to each other about their husband's disease. The two started talking about what blood type each of their husbands had and realized they could both be potential matches for each other's husbands. And guess what? They were both a match. The four were able to undergo transplant surgeries all on the same day. Tia and Susan say they hope sharing their story inspires others to open up, because you just never know who you'll match up with. The two women say they skipped friendship and became family in a heartbeat. Janice Dean, Fox News.
We like friendship a lot. So here's the item that I wanted to preview this weekend at 7 a.m. Saturday. Brandon Elvis Howard is the guest. He is one of the best Elvis impersonators you may have ever seen. TC will chat with Brandon about the art of storytelling through acting and singing. It will be fascinating. And Brandon is a really, really good guy, too. All right, another good guy, Jackson Jacoby, producing in the Axia Command Center today. Thanks much. And thanks to you for listening. Back again tomorrow morning, Steve Lindell from Studio B on WMUN's Delaware County Today.